What's up, everybody? My name is Trell Thomas, and this is Friend Friday, a dope content series I started to highlight my amazing friends doing dope things. What's up, friends? What's going on? Welcome. So I just want to introduce everybody to let everybody know who these amazing people are. So to my right is Adrian. Adrian is an amazing cinematographer, content creator, and recording artist. The dude does it all, triple threat in a way that you've never seen before. Next to Adrian is Taryana. Taryana is over at UTA, and she heads up diversity and inclusion there and really just makes sure that black and brown faces are in the place to be. Thank you for that. To my left is Randy. Randy is a publicist turned filmmaker, man. How does that even happen? But yeah, I'm so glad to have you with me, Randy. And then next to Randy is London fashion stylist extraordinaire. And then we have Josh. Josh is a Christian content creator who's launched an app and some digital platforms and really is getting the love of Christ out there for people. So yeah, man, these are some amazing people, and I'm so glad to have y'all with me. So thank you for kicking it. So yeah, let's talk about some things. First, the first question that I really wanted to ask, and I think that it's something that's been going on a lot lately and recently in the news, is the topic of forgiveness, right? Right? Everybody, does that mean we got some forgiving people? Or, but you know, I'm gonna tweak it a little bit, right? And I'm gonna talk to each of you about forgiveness. And London, you work in an industry where you have to make clothes and appearance be forgiving, right? And that's a little bit different than we all thought about. But tell us how you make the magic happen with styling people, because you styled everybody from Meghan Trainor to Mary J. Blige's BET Tribute Award. I mean, you are behind some of the greatest looks. So tell us how you make it happen.
Well, first, I like to start off with the person. So I like to figure out their personality and how I can help elevate them. Because I feel like everybody has their individual style. They just have to figure out who they want to be and what lane they want to be in. So I just sit down with them, create a mood board, figure out what brands work for them, and then just elevate them.
Yeah, that's dope. That's really dope. Well, listen, anytime you want to elevate me, I'm here.
I got you. You don't need too much, but I got you.
I'm ready to be elevated.
Yeah.
Speaking of elevation, Randy, I mean, I met Randy. He was doing this Bible study where he would it was called Small Group, right? And he would get this group of friends together, and we would just talk about the Word of God in a way that I'd never experienced before. And I truly believe that was a part of like my elevation here. But like one thing that I think that you are so good at, Randy, and I appreciate is just like he's always so kind, and he moves through life with such a grace and like and do you have to have a forgiving spirit to do that?
Completely. Completely. For me, I've had to take the approach and learn that it's not about me, it's always bigger than me. And that's from everything. I remember talking in Bible study about not taking it personal. That person that cuts you off on the road, they don't know you. Like, they may be rushing to get somewhere. So I always make fun of it, like, oh, you know what, their wife's in the back seat and they are rushing to get to the hospital to deliver that baby. Like, something to get my mind off of taking it, like, dang, they cut me off. And I have to remember the same thing with anything I go through in life, whether that's a client that, upsets me, or an actor, doesn't give me what I want when doing a film. Like, I don't know what they're going through outside of me, so I can't internalize that, because when I do, now I'm ready to go back at them. But if I could take me out of the equation and say, you know what, this isn't personal, and I get to the root of it and give them time, later you find out, oh, you know what, I was having a bad day because of X, Y, and Z. So now, rather than me making it personal and I have a bad day too, if I just become that grace, embody that grace, I give them a chance to now come to me for help. So now, instead of me letting that energy fester in me, I'm able to now be healing unto them and help them find the healing that they need. So.
Yeah, no, you have to say something, Josh.
I'm just agreeing with everything you're saying. I agree wholeheartedly. I'm big on forgiveness. I think that when you it's hard to hate somebody that you fully understand. Mm-hmm. And if you can fully see somebody's situation and fully empathize with them, forgiveness is big. And forgiveness helps with your own bitterness. I think that by being able to forgive, you're able to function in your full capacity. Yourself too, so.
I love that. The focus is on you. not on that other person. Like, that's really what it's all about at the end of the day. Like, I tell people all the time that I work with, like, you cannot take things personal, and you're doing that for yourself. You're not doing that for that other person. And like you said, then you come back around, you end up figuring out that, it really was not about me. And when you think that way, you move that way, you make it a better self, making it a better you. That's clearing up your mental space. Working on your self-care is really what forgiveness is all about, for me at least.
Adrian, you on Taryana wave right now. You like, I feel that, but like, so I want to ask you, like, what are like 3, I guess, rules of thumb, right, to extend grace to somebody, or you know, I'm sure, man, dealing with, you have a lot of clients that, like, you know, you have to.
I was gonna say, piggybacking off of Randy, you have to have a lot of patience to even, you know, have any type of forgiveness for anybody, you know, because at the end of the day, you know, we're all, you know, just people moving, going about our lives, and, you know, it's not always that, how can I say it? It's not always, you know, people are gonna understand what you're going through, or whatever, however your day is going, whatever it is. If they come at you any type of way, you know, it's something that's inside of them that they may be fighting, or, you know, vice versa. So at the end of the day, if you have patience for whoever you're encountering every day, day by day, then you'll be able to just flow.
It's interesting, you know. I was this kind of idea or changed the way I thought about things. People, first of all, there were 2 things. There was like, people only operate from a space that they can understand, right? And then the second one is that people project. Right? So I want to talk a little bit about projection, because we've all been guilty of it, right? You know, just like projecting our bad day on somebody else, or how we feel about, you know, something that happened to us, and then somebody does things that triggers you, which we'll talk about triggers too. But like, talk to me about projection. I want to hear from you, Joshua.
Whoa, when I'm thinking about projection, I'm just thinking about the fact that, like, like you said, that everybody has moments of, like, you know, maybe like where you're expressing not your best form of yourself. And like, that should help with your forgiveness, because when you see that in somebody else, you should be able to empathize with the fact that I've been there before. I've had bad days where I express myself in a bad way. And now that I see that in you, out of love, I just want the best for you. And I'll understand, maybe not, you know, encourage that behavior, but at least come from a place of love and understanding and try to better the situation.
Yeah.
But I've definitely projected myself in bad ways, just like everybody else, you know?
Give me somebody who wants to volunteer and tell us about a time where they projected. I want to hear from one of
I could say for me, I remember in high school, just doing my own insecurities, because unfortunately, a lot of my insecurities stem from my friends. So because of that, like, they would say things like anybody knows me knows I'm always posting me smiling. Like, you never see me not. I'm uncomfortable not smiling in the picture. But before in high school, I didn't put out a single one of my high school pictures. Like, you can't find a single one of those online. They are still in a paper wrapping that they came in, because my friends would tell me, you're ugly when you smile. So when I was around my friends, I always felt I was kept that in my mind. So I always felt like really insecure and really small around them. And because of that, I always took it like they would mistreat me. Now, even when they weren't, but because the seeds they planted before, I always felt like they were out against me or to get me or something. And I'm like, no, I'm just feeling that way because now I'm insecure because of the things I've allowed them to do to me before. Yes, and so it made me always feel like uncomfortable or small. I would just shrink around them to the point where it's just like, now I'm looking at them like they're doing something wrong to me, when it's like, no, I'm just projecting my own insecurities now. And I feel like they're out to get me. When I see them whispering, I think they're talking about me because I've built this wall because of the insecurities that I've now gained, you know?
That's so interesting. You know, it's interesting because you know, I see you and I'm like, oh, he's always smiling, he's always happy, and I would never know that, like, you were afraid to smile at some point, you know? And I think that that's also interesting, you know, ladies, when you see a beautiful woman, both of you are gorgeous, and it's like, you also have things that you deal with, right? And we tend to like build walls, and like walls like keep people out, but they also keep us in. So tell me about an experience in London where you've had to, like, you've broken down your wall or cut a hole in it, and like what that looks like.
Well, I would say one thing in particular, like being on set, I'm the only Black person, for one, and the only woman, too. So I just recently worked this job where it was male-dominated, and they were just throwing things at me. Like, I was only supposed to style 10 people. End up styling
Only 10.
10. Right, 10. They ended up throwing me 32 people.
Wow.
Like, I did not get the sizes or anything like the day of or even before they walked in the door. And I'm like, yo, like, I need some direction. Like, stop throwing people in here. And I just had to really, like, build some respect for myself. Like, look, y'all don't respect me. Like, I need to know what's going on. Like, stop treating me like I'm just a girl on set. Like, I'm a grown woman and you guys are men. So I just had to like really like just stand up for myself and be like, this is me, and open up those walls to one, because it's hard to like say like, because I'm trying to keep my job. So I'm trying to say like, you know,
You don't want to be the angry
right,
Black
the
woman
angry
and all,
Black woman,
yeah.
right. So I had to like break down like, okay, London, one, people need to respect you, but also come in as super professional. So I just had to like really break down those walls, but also stand up for myself.
That's interesting, and standing up for yourself. And Taryana, I'm sure that you have to do a lot of that. And the thing, and I just want to say this, the thing that I admire about Black women is that you guys are so resilient and make it look so graceful and so beautiful. What's the secret?
I don't know, but it's, for me, it's like a responsibility that other Black women are watching me. And I want to be an example to them. I also have strong Black women in my family who are resilient. I know there's nothing different. I don't know any better, but to be resilient. I actually have no choice. And I think, especially in the entertainment world, you know, yes, you can be deemed as the bitchy Black woman, if you want to say, or the angry Black woman. But honestly, I have gotten to a comfortability to know that I don't really care if you see me as that way. Like, I want you to respect me, and you will respect me, just like you respect everybody else up in this thing. Like, you are going to respect me. So I think, yeah, there are times where it is like a little insecure. You walk in a room, you're the only person that looks like you, but it's knowing that I have to show up because I have to be an example for the people who are coming after me. And that is my ultimate responsibility. And that is why I continue to show up. I continue to, you know, break these walls down because I have to. I don't have a choice.
You know, and that's something that triggers me. You know, every time I see a Black woman, I grew up in a home it was just me and my sisters. My brother had already graduated and he was not living in the house anymore. So it was like my mom, my sisters, my dad was there, but it was like mostly me and my sisters. And I just gained such a healthy respect for Black women. And it triggers me when I see Black women disrespected in any sort of way, because I know how strong you are, how strong you have to be, and then you have to be compassionate. So there's a balance that you have to be beautiful and compassionate and graceful, but then you have to be strong and stand up for yourself. So that's a trigger for me. So tell me about a trigger for you. What's your trigger? Josh, you seem so like even toned and like you got some triggers. What's a trigger for you?
Something that triggers me. I think just people like, just on a level of this conversation, people not being able to forgive and empathize with people, because like I keep saying, like I've been saying the whole time, I think it's really important to be able to like just see yourself in people to a point that you can like just, you know, moving out of love. You know what I mean? I just think just seeing hate of any form in the world, you know, just bothers me, and it really triggers me. Yeah, I just think just hate of any form, just in general.
No, as Black people, we have to, so we come with our own trauma, right? That's some of it is cellular. Some of it we didn't even like, it just is, we were born with it, right? And then there's an expectancy, right, to also just be very compassionate and loving and always forgiving. And like, how do you balance that? Like, knowing that that's the thing that you know, and it triggers you when other people don't do it, but then you see like what happens to, you know, your brothers and sisters. Like, what?
I think we just gotta I think as Black people, we call ourselves to a higher standard that the rest of the world should bring themselves to. Like, you see the situation where the young man hugged the woman who killed his brother. Yeah. You know what I mean? And seeing that situation, I think that that's the type of empathy that should be shown in the world. And like, we shouldn't then, because we don't see that around us, stoop down to the level of what we see.
Like, they go low, we go high.
All just keep going high until those people can, get on that same page. I think that it's a good thing, and we need more of that heart posture.
Yeah. What were you about to say, Taryana?
So do we think there are situations that are unforgivable? Because I felt so about that situation. I wonder, like, do people, is there a situation that's unforgivable?
I don't know that. I think everything's forgivable, but I think people confuse forgiveness with like contentment. Like you don't have to we don't have to be best friends for me to forgive you. I can forgive you, but I'm not subscribing to your abuse anymore. So I can love you from a distance, but still forgive you, still hug you and embrace you and say I'm praying for you. Because I think what we miss is that boy. He said I hope you find God. And I'm praying that you connect with God and get your life together. He's not saying like, oh, it's okay, no big deal, you killed my brothers. Like, no, I want you to find God and truly be forgiven.
And I think part of the outrage, first of all, you're absolutely right. So I read something that was so powerful, and it was like, I knew that I had reached a new level of enlightenment or strength when I accepted the apology I never got. Mm-hmm. That's a next level thing, right? Because, so many people wait for closure, right? Or you wait for this apology, or you're like, and it's just like, no, you don't need, you can forgive without ever speaking to the person again. So I think it's interesting that you brought that up. But secondly, there's this balance of being able to say, what you did is not right. But then also, like, how do you stand in the gap, right, for the entire race of Black people who have been continuously mistreated and then expected to turn the other cheek when, it didn't happen. But had that situation been the other way around, what would have happened? And I'm just asking a question.
If I could jump in again, I would say, I think that's the thing too. Like when you look at if the script was flipped, how would it have been? I think we can't even really worry about that. Like we already kind of know what would have happened, but that's not our concern. We can't say, well, because they did wrong, then I'm gonna do wrong too. Like firefighters don't bring fire to put out a fire. They put it out with water. So it's like, I literally just had to tell somebody that today. Like that's the thing. Like we have to fight. We have to counter what they do. A positive, and attracts a negative for a reason, because that positive should overshadow that negative. It balances out. So I think we kind of have to not look at what they would have done or how they would have treated us. Let's set the new norm. Let's set the new example and standard and say, okay, cool, y'all do this, but we're going here, and you meet me up here. If you can't meet me up here, that's cool, but at least I'm giving you something to thrive for. I'm not going to come to your level. If you want to address me or be in my space or have any type of access to me, you have to level up to where I am. I'm not coming down there. I refuse to come down there.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I think that really shows how powerful Black people are in general, because there's not a lot of people that are able to forgive at that capacity. Yeah, I couldn't imagine. You feel me? But I can, but it'll take a lot of time, But for him to be able to do that, I think it shows a clear understanding of what we have inside of us. You feel me? Like I don't think that there's many people that have the type of power that we possess that can, just show it as easy as he
and
did.
Where do we learn that though? Like who taught you, Alana? You were raised by both your parents, your father?
Both my parents, but mainly my mom.
Okay.
Yeah. Definitely my mom, and especially like we used to go to church all the time, and she's always about like the Bible, but also like even today I had to just tell her a situation of how somebody didn't credit me for my work that I did, but they listed everybody else, even the graphic designer, but did not list the stylist, and I was really like taken back by that. And she's like, no, you need to stand up for what it is. You need to tell them, because like people are going to use this as a test. Like, oh, I ran over her once with this, I can run over her again. And I felt what she was saying. She was like, but also give him an opportunity to make this right. So she's always like seeing the better of things, but also like, London, like, what would God do and everything like that. So my mom, definitely.
Coming through with what would Jesus do.
No, what would Jesus do? I know that's like a saying that we always say. That's such a serious thing. Like, I think people don't realize Jesus was very confrontational. He dealt with things head on. So he didn't just let it, oh, whatever, I'm gonna let it slide, I'm gonna be passive aggressive. He called it out. He worked with truth and grace. And so I've had to learn it because I used to be like, I'm gonna show you with my absence. I'm gonna show you with my silence. And that don't work. People don't know. But when you literally confront things, you give that person a chance to make it right. Or you bring something to their attention that they may not even realize. Like, sometimes the hurt isn't intentional. They don't even realize that they are putting hurt upon you or projecting upon you or whatever. But if you address it, it gives them a chance to say, you know what, I am sorry, I didn't mean that. Let me fix it with you. And also let me be conscious of everybody going forth that I do this too, so I don't ever put somebody in a position that I put you in again. So it's like almost our responsibility to stand up for ourselves, to not just make a better way for us, but even the people that come after us.
You know, it's so interesting. I reached a point in my life and where admittedly I didn't want to get out of bed. I was super, super depressed because, you know, I was waiting on this apology, right, that I thought that I deserved. And it put things in a different perspective for me. One, it just made me understand that, like you said, everybody doesn't know. And a lot of the things that I wanted an apology for, I'm not even sure if the person who had done it was absolutely clear on what they had done, for a number of reasons, like their perspective, their own projection, me not saying anything. So I think that we have to run everything through that filter too, right? Of okay, is what I'm expecting realistic based on what the information that I've given and all that. So I thank you. You know, just thank you for being right. But okay, so we talk about forgiving, and we all forgiving because everybody's a saint here. But when is the last time you had to be forgiven, Adrian? I'm going.
I had a few now that I had to be forgiven. Somebody lied to me, and I found out, and you know, it was just to the point where I'm like, okay, do I really want to put my energy in there and be mad about this for forever, or you know, just forgive them? And it took time for me, of course, because of the situation. But you know, I'm just the type that I like to, you know, give out energy and have it reciprocated. So if I was to hurt somebody, I would want to be forgiven. So you know, I had to put my best foot forward and you know, just forgive them for what they did. But yeah, I mean, it takes time. It's not that easy for some people to just, you know, forgive somebody. but yeah.
And what's the role that pride plays in that, Josh? Because we could talk, you know, we get biblical. I got my Christian brothers here today. We can get biblical. Let's talk about pride and the role that plays.
I think whenever you have pride, you're just looking at yourself too highly, you know, and like I keep saying, I think that if you're able to just be a little understanding, maybe take a little time to calm down and just reevaluate the situation and look at it realistically, then you can take your pride out. But pride is an easy thing to get involved, especially when you allow your emotions of the moment to take over. Whenever I have my most prideful moments is when I'm intensely in that situation. You just said something to me, I feel you know what I mean? I feel a way about it, and then, you know, that pride rises up. But so I would say, you know, just as some advice to handle pride is maybe to sometimes think before you react. And whenever you're acting out of your emotions, maybe just breathe for a little bit, you know what I mean, and then respond. But I mean, yeah, pride's definitely something that can get in the way a lot of times. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's some of the best advice. When you say pause for a second, that is, I am constantly working on that because I just want to react. And that is just that's how I've lived my life, is on a reaction basis. And the moments when I do react instantly are the things that I regret the most. And I'm I needed to take a break, step aside, think about it for a night. And when I do that, then I'm the situation is just always, you just gotta sleep on it. It's always better. Even when I think of times where I'm frustrated at work and I'm I'm about to read them in this email.
Yo, perfect example.
But I'm always what I usually do now is send an email to me. Mm-hmm. That's my initial email. And then 24 hours later, I'm okay, that was a horrible email. So now let me go. But you're right. You gotta take a moment. But life is so fast. Yeah. And that's how we're moving. And so you always gotta take a beat. It's the best advice ever.
I want to stay there for a second because you have a very interesting and unique and very important role, at UTA, where you are responsible for making sure the culture is alive and well in the workplace, and it's different because you're fighting against these forces of things the way that they've always been, not specifically even at UTA, but in the entertainment industry in general. So how do you bring that grace and that forgiving spirit and that compassion into your day-to-day? Because it's a day,
It is. And it's tough. It's tough. It's something that I struggle with because I haven't been in the entertainment industry for too long. I've been doing this for 2.5 years. I've been specifically in inclusion work for only a few months now. And so you're privy to a lot more things, right? You, again, not just at UTA, but beyond, you start to get into new rooms and learn how people really think about, Black and brown folks. But it's the goal. I always say it's a long road, right? Again, if I react to something, I may be burning a bridge I need. So it's a long game. And I have to play it smartly. I have to be smart about all the moves because this industry is so small. This industry is so small. And it's funny because one of the things, and I'm sure you could feel me on this, is everybody always remembers me because of my hair. Yeah. So I always know if I make a wrong move, they're gonna be like, oh, that girl with the fro? No, it's a hard no for her, but it's bigger than me. It really, really is. And people are gonna frustrate you all the time. It doesn't matter if you're at work or whatever you're doing, but I know that once at the end of me doing this work, the entertainment industry is going to be a better place. And that allows me to come to work and be my best self. And I love being, like you said earlier, this person with a smile. That is truly who I am. I walk up and I want people to leave me and say they feel better. They got good energy from me. I would love that. And so what I focus on in my work is that I always say, if somebody can have a conversation with me and leave more inspired, not because of me, but because they realized how much power they had to make moves in the entertainment industry, I've done my job. And so everything else really doesn't matter. That's what I focus on.
I love that. And first of all, I love that. And I love that you are taking that responsibility because we are the salt. Right? We are the light. We are what people are looking at, and we have a responsibility to be that, because just like you said about the fro, they're gonna see you but it's not just gonna be you, it's gonna be every Black girl with a, you know what I mean? And I think that it's important for us to tell those stories. And Adrian, what I love about what you do, and Randy, since you're also a director, filmmaker now, you guys are capturing these. You have a responsibility now, even behind the lens, to capture these stories and change the narrative of Black people. And how do you do that? What's that responsibility like for you?
So for me, when I create, I try to create something that I want to see in the world. Pretty much, I want to create my favorite movie that I've never seen before, or I create, my favorite song that's not out, but have it inspire people that are either younger than me that will, in turn, take that inspiration and utilize it in their own route, whatever that may be. But I think for sure what it is, I have a lot of nieces and nephews, and they look up to me. Every single thing I do, they're texting me or FaceTime me, Uncle Adrian, I saw this, I heard this. And that keeps me, grounded, but also inspired to be able to know, okay, when I leave here, when my work is said and done on earth, I have, some seeds that I've planted in these young children that are able to now, put it back into the world. I know for sure, that's going to happen. But I think it's just important in general to just tell our stories, tell the stories that, people haven't, necessarily shared with other people. I think it's just that time to just show the world what we're all about.
You guys all inspire me. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for pouring your love and your energy here and kicking it with me on my couch. I love being around Black excellence, and you all are it. Thank you for joining me here on Friend Friday and meeting my amazing Friday friends. And meet us here every single Friday for the new edition of Friend Friday. And thank you so much, and join us next time. See you.